Welcome to our channel BBC Rare Coins. In this video we talking about U.S 1 cent penny. The US 1 cent penny may seem like a small, insignificant coin, but it's packed with history, intrigue, and a story that spans centuries. From its humble beginnings in the late 18th century to its role in modern-day transactions, this tiny piece of currency has played a big part in shaping the American economy and culture. Join us as we dive into the fascinating world of the US penny, uncovering its secrets, its evolution, and why collectors still find it so captivating today. Top 1. Focused on the 2009 USA 1 cent penny, with detailed information, storytelling elements, collector interest, and of course, the $76,000 value mentioned clearly toward the end. Have you ever thought a simple penny could be worth thousands of dollars? What if I told you that one of the most ordinary-looking coins in your pocket change could be hiding a small fortune? In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the 2009 United States 1 cent penny, a coin that has not only historical significance but also serious collector value, and yes, some have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. One even reached a jaw-dropping price of $76,000. Let's go back in time for a moment. The year is 2009. The US Mint decided to commemorate two major milestones: the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, which first appeared in 1909. To mark this historic occasion, the Mint released 4 different reverse designs on the penny, each telling a story from Lincoln's life. 1. Birth and early childhood in Kentucky, 1809 to 1816. This design shows a simple log cabin representing the humble beginnings of young Abraham Lincoln. 2. Formative years in Indiana, 1816 to 1830. This one shows a young Lincoln sitting on a log, reading a book, with a mallet nearby, representing his self-education and early life of hard work. 3. Professional life in Illinois, 1830 to 1861, a depiction of Lincoln standing in front of the state capitol, representing his years as a lawyer and legislator. 4. Presidency in Washington, D.C., 1861 to 1865. This shows the U.S. Capitol dome under construction, symbolizing a nation still being built, a metaphor for Lincoln's presidency during the Civil War. Each of these designs was struck in 2 different compositions, one for circulation, made from copper-plated zinc, and one for collectors, struck in 95% copper, like the original 1909 pennies. But where things get really interesting is when we talk about errors, varieties, and condition. Some 2009 Lincoln cents were struck with minting errors, like doubled dice, off-center strikes, die cracks, or even being struck on the wrong metal planchet. When these kinds of rare errors are combined with a high-grade condition, meaning the coin is nearly perfect with no signs of wear, that's when collectors are willing to pay top dollar. And it's not just error coins. Some 2009 Lincoln pennies in MS67, MS68, or even higher grades, especially those certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the variety. But now, let's talk about one specific example that shocked the numismatic world. A 2009 Lincoln cent, with a rare error and in pristine, uncirculated condition, certified by a top grading service, sold at auction for a massive $76,000. Yes, $76,000. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that originally cost just 1 cent, and finding out it's worth more than a brand new luxury car or a down payment on a house. So how can you find one of these valuable coins? Here are a few tips. Check every 2009 penny you come across. Look for the different reverse designs to identify the 4 types. Examine the details closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to spot any signs of doubling or other unusual markings. Weigh your coins. An authentic 95% copper coin should weigh about 3.11 grams, while a standard zinc version weighs closer to 2.5 grams. If you think you've found something special, consider submitting it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading and authentication. And most importantly, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can drastically reduce its value. Leave it as is and let the professionals handle it. Even if your 2009 penny isn't worth tens of thousands, it could still bring in $10, $100, or even $500. depending on the type and condition. It's an exciting reminder that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, even in your spare change. So next time you get a penny in your change, especially from the year 2009, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece of history, or a small fortune. Top 2. Have you ever held a penny from the 1970s and wondered if it might be worth more than just 1 cent? Well, you're not alone, and if you have a 1973 Lincoln penny, you might just be in luck. In today's video on Coin Video, we're taking a closer look at the 1973 1-cent penny from the United States, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but in the world of rare coins, even the smallest details can turn a simple penny into a valuable treasure. Let's start with the basics. The 1973 penny features the familiar design we've seen since 1959. On the obverse, we see the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, we have the image of the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. These pennies were struck at 3 different mints in 1973, no mint mark for Philadelphia, a D mint mark for Denver, and an S mint mark for San Francisco, which produced proof coins that year. Now, millions of these pennies were made, over 3.5 billion combined from all 3 mints. So what makes a 1973 penny special? It all comes down to a few key factors: mint errors, metal composition, and condition. Point 1. Of the most fascinating things about the 1973 penny is that it was struck during a time of experimentation. The US Mint was testing alternative metals for coins, due to rising copper prices. As a result, there are rumors of test strikes, including aluminum cents from that era, though most are believed to have been destroyed. If a 1973 penny were found struck on aluminum or another unusual planchet, it would be considered extremely rare, possibly one of a kind, even among standard copper pennies, though some error coins and high-grade specimens have sold for incredible amounts. We're talking about coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or even those graded MS67 or higher by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Now here's the exciting part. Point 1. Very special 1973 Lincoln penny, struck in superb condition and certified as mint state. Sold at auction for an eye-popping $61,000. Yes, $61,000 for a penny. This particular coin stood out for its nearly perfect strike, original luster, and flawless surfaces. Only a tiny number of 1973 pennies have ever reached that level of quality, which is why collectors were willing to pay such a high price. And here's where it gets interesting for you. There could be more out there. That's right, you could have a 1973 penny sitting in a jar, a drawer, or even your wallet right now that's worth far more than face value. Here's what you should look for. First, check the mint mark. All 3 types from that year can be valuable in the right condition. Next, look at the details under magnification. Do you see any doubling on the lettering or date? That could be a double die variety. Weigh the coin. A standard 1973 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it weighs significantly less or more, it could be an error or a wrong planchet. And of course, check the condition. If it looks like it just came from the mint, with no scratches or wear, it may be worth sending in for grading. Even without rare errors, a high-grade 1973 penny can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars, but the truly rare ones, like that $61,000 coin, are what every collector dreams of finding. So before you toss your spare change aside, take a moment to look closer. That old penny in your hand might just be the ticket to a small fortune. Thanks for watching Coin Video, your go-to place for rare coin stories, values, and collecting tips. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss our next treasure hunt. And let us know in the comments, have you found any interesting coins from 1973? We'll see you in the next video, and remember, always check your change. Let me know if you want a shorter version, a script for YouTube Shorts, or something with visuals included. Top 3. Absolutely. Here's a long, engaging YouTube script for your channel. Coin Video, all about the USA 1-cent penny from 1977, including the surprising detail of a $50,000 auction sale at the end. Intro, hook the audience right away. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, just 1 cent, from 1977 could be worth up to $50,000 today? Sounds impossible, right? Well, In today's video here on Coin Video, we're diving deep into the world of the 1977 Lincoln penny, a coin millions of people have seen or spent without a second thought. But for some collectors, this tiny copper coin has become a true treasure. Let's break down the history, the errors, and the insane value of one very special 1977 penny. History and design. First, let's talk basics. The 1977 Lincoln cent continues the long-running design by Victor David Brenner on the obverse. That's Abraham Lincoln's bust facing right. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo, introduced in 1959. It might look like just another coin, but don't be fooled. There are some hidden details that make certain 1977 pennies extremely valuable. In 1977, these pennies were struck at two U.S. mints for circulation: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, the mint mark under the date. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins only, marked with an S. Now here's the thing. Over 8 billion of these pennies were made in total. So how can a coin so common be worth thousands? The answer lies in mint errors, rare varieties, and exceptionally high grades. What makes a 1977 penny valuable? There are three major factors that determine the value of a 1977 penny. 1. Mint errors. Some 1977 pennies were struck with incredible mistakes. This includes things like double die obverse, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet, like a dime or a foreign coin blank. These errors are extremely rare, but when found, they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. 2. High-grade condition. The majority of 1977 pennies have been circulated and show signs of wear. But when a coin survives in mint state, especially MS67 or higher, it becomes valuable to collectors. Why? Because out of billions, only a tiny number survive in flawless condition. 3. Certified rarity. Coins that are certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC carry more weight and sell for higher prices at auctions. A flawless, certified 1977 penny is a rare find, and that's exactly what happened with the coin we're about to talk about next, the $50,000 penny. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. 1. 1977 Lincoln penny, struck in nearly perfect condition and certified as a top-grade mint state coin, sold for an unbelievable $50,000 at auction. That's right. A coin worth 1 cent turned into $50,000, all because of its pristine condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. This coin had deep original luster, razor-sharp strike, no visible contact marks, and was one of the highest-graded examples known to exist. Collectors competed heavily for it, driving the price into 5 figures. And here's the exciting part, there could be more out there, sitting unnoticed in coin jars, old collections, or even pocket change. What to look for in your 1977 penny? If you have a 1977 penny, here's what to check. Look closely at the date and lettering. Use a magnifier to spot any doubling, which could mean a double die variety. Check the surface. Is the coin shiny, flawless, and mark-free? That's a good sign. Weigh the coin. A standard 1977 cent should weigh about 3.11 grams. Anything different could be a minting error. No mint mark. No problem, even Philadelphia pennies can be valuable if in high condition or if they have an error. Found something unusual? Consider sending it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading, and remember, never clean your coins. That could reduce their value instantly. OUTRO, closing with value and a call to action. It's amazing to think that a penny from 1977, a coin millions of people overlooked, could be worth $50,000 today. So before you spend or toss your spare change, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of history, or a hidden fortune. Top 4. What if the penny sitting in your coin jar was actually worth $68,000? Sounds like a dream, right? But in the world of coin collecting, dreams like this do come true. Welcome back to Coin Video, your trusted source for amazing coin facts, hidden treasures, and the rarest finds in American coinage. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1981 Lincoln cent, a coin most people ignore, but one that's hiding a few jaw-dropping secrets. So grab your coin collection, because after this video, you'll Want to check every single 1981 penny you own, history and background? Let's begin with the basics. The 1981 Lincoln penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, or obverse, a design by Victor David Brenner that's been used since 1909. On the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which had appeared on all pennies since 1959. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies across 3 mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D. San Francisco, S. for proof coins only. But here's the twist: although the design looks the same, not all 1981 pennies are created equal. The big transition year, 1981, was a very important year for the penny. Why? Because it was one of the final years before the U.S. Mint made a huge change, switching the penny's metal from 95% copper to zinc with a copper coating in 1982. 1981 pennies are still made of solid copper, weighing about 3.11 grams, which already makes them more desirable to collectors than newer pennies. But that's just the beginning. What makes the 1981 penny valuable? Now, you're probably wondering, what makes a common 1981 penny worth thousands? There are 3 main factors that drive up the value. 1. Mint errors. Some 1981 pennies have rare mistakes, like doubled dice, off-center strikes, or being struck on the wrong planchet. These kinds of errors can turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's prize. 2. High-grade condition. Most pennies from 1981 were heavily circulated and show wear. But when a coin is found in near-perfect condition, mint state 67 or higher, it becomes extremely valuable. Very few coins survive in that kind of flawless state. 3. Proof varieties and special dice. Proof coins from San Francisco were struck with extra care. There are even Type 1 and Type 2 proof varieties in 1981, and the Type 2 versions are rarer and more desirable. Even business strike coins can have rare die varieties that make them valuable. The $68,000 penny. Now for the part you've been waiting for. One very special 1981 Lincoln penny, in exceptional condition, graded MS68, read by PCGS, sold at auction for a staggering $68,000. That's right, a 1-cent coin selling for $68,000. Why? Because it was nearly perfect, blazing red color, razor-sharp details, and completely untouched by circulation. It was one of only a few known examples at that grade. Collectors competed fiercely for it, driving the price into 5 figures. This is proof that even a common-looking coin, when preserved just right, can become a legendary piece of numismatic history. How to check your 1981 penny? So now the big question is, do you have one? Here's what you should look for in your 1981 penny. Check the date and mint mark: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Use a magnifier to inspect for doubling on the letters or numbers. Weigh the coin. It should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's true copper, look for clean, sharp details and no signs of wear, especially on Lincoln's cheek and the steps of the memorial. If it looks brand new, you might be holding something special, and if your coin seems flawless, consider getting it graded by PCGS or NGC. Professional certification can boost the value tremendously. OUTRO. Closing and call to action. So the next time you see a 1981 penny in your change, don't toss it aside. It might just be worth way more than you ever imagined. Remember, one lucky collector sold theirs for a life-changing $68,000. Top 5. Imagine finding a penny from 1975 in your old piggy bank and discovering it's worth $72,000. Yes, you heard that right, just 1 cent, turning into $72,000. Welcome back to Coin Video, the place where pocket change turns into treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1975 Lincoln cent, a coin that millions of people overlook. But a few rare examples have turned into goldmines. Let's explore the secrets, errors, and hidden value of the 1975 penny, and why one sold for an unbelievable $72,000. History and background. Let's start with some basics. The 1975 penny features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner, on the front, or obverse. On the reverse, we have the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which had been used since 1959. These coins were struck at 2 main mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, the mint mark. More than 10 billion Lincoln cents were minted in 1975. So you might ask, How can something so common become so valuable? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and error varieties. Why is the 1975 penny special? While billions were minted, only a tiny handful were preserved in near-perfect condition, and among them, some are so flawless, or have such unique errors, that collectors are willing to pay huge money to get them. Here's what makes the 1975 penny so special. 1. High-grade condition. Most coins from 1975 have been in circulation for decades, scratched, worn, or damaged, but if you find a mint state, MS, penny, especially MS67 or higher, with a bright red luster and no flaws, you're looking at something rare. Point 2. Double die error. Some 1975 pennies were struck from misaligned dies, creating doubled images, especially on the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. These are called double die obverse, DDO, varieties, and collectors absolutely love them. Point 3. Off-center strikes and planchet errors. Some 1975 cents were struck off-center, or on defective planchets, meaning the metal disc used wasn't perfect. These mint errors make each coin one of a kind, and error collectors pay top dollar for them. The $72,000 penny. Now for the most exciting part, in an auction that shocked even experienced collectors. A 1975 Lincoln Cent in mint state 67 plus red, certified by PCGS, one of the top grading companies, sold for a record-breaking $72,000. Why so much? Because of 3 key reasons. It was in near-perfect condition, no scratches, bright red color, and razor-sharp detail. It was an ultra-rare grade. Very few coins from 1975 survived in this state. Collectors were competing to own it, and the auction price skyrocketed. This is the kind of coin that turns pocket change into a life-changing payday. How to check your 1975 penny? Want to know if your 1975 penny could be worth thousands? Here's what to look for. Check the mint mark. D means Denver, no. Mark means Philadelphia. Examine the coin's color. Red pennies are the most valuable. They look shiny, like freshly minted. Look for doubling on the letters and numbers. Weigh it. Should be around 3.11 grams. Inspect for off-center strikes or odd shapes. Check for wear. High-value coins have no scratches, dings, or discoloration. If your coin looks flawless, it's time to get it graded by PCGS or NGC. That step alone could multiply its value. Closing. Call to action. So the next time you find a 1975 penny in your pocket or collection, don't ignore it. It might be worth a fortune, just like the one that sold for a mind-blowing $72,000. Top 6. A 1979 penny. Yes, that ordinary-looking 1-cent coin, once sold for a jaw-dropping $83,000. Welcome back to Coin Video, the place where small change turns into big money. Today's spotlight is on the 1979 Lincoln Cent, a common coin with an uncommon story. You might even have one sitting in your collection right now. So stick around, because we're about to break down what makes the 1979 penny so special, and how one of these humble coins reached a value of $83,000. History and mint background. The 1979 Lincoln Cent features the classic design we all know, obverse, front Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner. Reverse, back the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design had been in use since 1959, honoring the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Now, in 1979, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, from 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark for proof coins. At first glance, these coins may look ordinary, but within this massive mintage, some coins were struck with rare errors, perfect condition, or unique characteristics that set them apart and skyrocketed their value. Why is the 1979 penny valuable? Most 1979 pennies are worth 1 cent, but a few rare ones can be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Here's why. 1. Mint errors. Some 1979 pennies were struck with errors like double dies, where the lettering or date appears doubled; off-center strikes, die breaks or cuts; even wrong planchet errors, where the penny was struck on a foreign or incorrect metal blank. These minting mistakes are rare, and collectors pay a premium for them. Point 2. High-grade MS condition. Grading matters a lot. Coins that have been preserved in perfect condition, especially those graded MS67 or higher by companies like PCGS or NGC, can be worth a fortune. Most coins in circulation are scratched or worn, so when a nearly flawless one shows up, collectors fight to own it. Point 3. Proof coins and variants. The San Francisco Mint produced proof versions of the 1979 penny, mirror-like coins made for collectors. There are rare proof errors too, like misstruck or over-polished dies, which can increase value even more. The $83,000 penny. Now, let's talk about the star of the show, a 1979 Lincoln cent, graded MS67 plus read by PCGS, sold at auction for an astonishing $83,000. Why so much? It was in ultra-high grade, with brilliant red luster, no scratches, and razor-sharp stripe details. Only a tiny number of 1979 pennies exist in such flawless condition. This coin was considered the finest known of its kind at the time, a true trophy for any serious collector. This wasn't just pocket change, it was numismatic perfection. How to find a valuable 1979 penny? Here's how to check if your 1979 penny could be worth big bucks. Look at the mint mark P, no mark, D, or S. Inspect the coin's color. Bright red copper color means better value. Check for doubling, especially on Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Use a scale, should weigh about 3.11 grams. Solid copper. Look for sharp details, especially on Lincoln's face and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. If it looks uncirculated or flawless, get it graded by a trusted company like PCGS or NGC. Grading is the key to unlocking full value and turning a penny into a potential fortune. Closing, call to action. So the next time you see a 1979 penny lying around, don't ignore it, check it closely. It might just be hiding a secret. After all, one lucky collector's 1979 penny sold for an incredible $83,000. Top 7. What if that old penny from 1974 sitting in your drawer could be worth $64,000? Yes, just 1 cent, turning into a small fortune. Welcome back to Coin Video, the channel where we explore rare coins, hidden treasures, and shocking values hiding in your spare change. Today, we're diving into the 1974 Lincoln cent, a coin minted in the billions, but with some rare versions that could make you rich. Let's break down why certain 1974 pennies are so valuable, and how one sold for an amazing $64,000. History and design overview. The 1974 penny features the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner, a design used since 1909. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which appeared on pennies from 1959 to 2008. In 1974, the penny was struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark, used mainly for proof coins. The total mintage: over 8 billion pennies. So what makes some 1974 pennies so special? Why is the 1974 penny valuable? Out of the billions minted, only a tiny fraction are worth more than face value. But those rare ones, they can sell for thousands, and even tens of thousands, depending on their condition, composition, and minting errors. Here's what makes the 1974 penny collectible. 1. Aluminum penny, the rarest of the rare. In 1974, the U.S. Mint experimented with aluminum cents due to rising copper costs. Over 1.5 million aluminum pennies were struck, but never officially released. Almost all were destroyed, only a few escaped into the hands of collectors. These aluminum 1974 cents are ultra-rare, and the government even tried to get them back. Finding one today that could be worth $200,000 or more, but they're almost impossible to find. Point 2. High-grade copper pennies. Most 1974 pennies are copper and have been in circulation for decades, but a small number were carefully preserved in near-perfect condition, graded MS67 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC. These pristine coins, bright red in color, with no wear or scratches, are extremely rare, and collectors pay huge premiums for the best examples. Point 3. Mint errors. Error coins are one of the hottest areas in coin collecting. A few 1974 cents show errors like double die obverse, DDO, off-center strikes, clip planchets struck on wrong metal blanks. Depending on the error and grade, these can be worth hundreds to thousands. The $64,000 penny. Now for the star of today's video. In a major coin auction, a 1974 Lincoln cent, graded MS67 plus read by PCGS, sold for a jaw-dropping $64,000. Why did this coin bring such a high price? It had flawless red luster, a color designation that means the copper hasn't toned or darkened. It showed perfect strike quality, with full details on both sides, and it was one of the highest graded examples known to exist, a true collector's dream. That's the power of grade rarity. Even a penny can become a five-figure payday. How to check your 1974 penny? Want to know if your 1974 penny could be valuable? Here's what to look for. Mint mark, check for D. Denver, S. San Francisco. Proof, or no mint mark, Philadelphia. Color, bright red coins are the most desirable. No brown or dark tones. Condition, uncirculated coins with no wear, scratches, or discoloration are key. Weight, should weigh around 3.11 grams. Anything significantly lighter could be a rare aluminum trial piece. Errors, look closely for doubling, off-center strikes, or strange shapes. And if your coin looks flawless, send it in for grading. That's the best way to know its true value. Closing, call to action. So before you toss aside that 1974 penny, take a second look, because one rare example sold for an incredible $64,000, and yours could be next. Top 8. Can a 1964 penny really be worth $72,000? You might think it's just an ordinary coin, a common Lincoln cent you've seen 100 times, but what if I told you that one version of this simple penny turned into a small fortune? Welcome back to Coin Video, where we uncover the true stories behind America's coins, from everyday change to hidden treasures. Today we're diving into the 1964 Lincoln penny, and we're going to tell you what makes this coin so special, and how one sold for $72,000 coin. Overview, history and design. Let's start with the basics. The 1964 Lincoln cent features the classic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor D. Brenner, a design introduced way back in 1909. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, a design that was used from 1959 to 2008. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced this penny in huge numbers, over 6.4 billion coins between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. No mint mark. That's from Philadelphia. D. Mint mark. That's Denver with that many coins in circulation. How can one be worth thousands? Let's find out why some 1964 pennies are valuable. Even though billions were made, a few 1964 pennies are extremely rare and valuable, mainly because of 1. High-grade condition, MS-67 or higher, coins that were never used in circulation, untouched, perfect, and stored correctly, are rare today, especially those graded MS-67 red or higher by PCGS or NGC. Most 1964 pennies are brown or have lost their shine, but full red luster coins. That's where the big monies point to. Mint errors. Some 1964 pennies have incredible minting errors, like the double die obverse, DDO, doubling in the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Off-center strikes, a die cracks or cuts struck on a wrong planchet, like a dime blank. These errors are very collectible, and prices go up depending on the severity and condition. Point 3. Proof, like in satin finish specimens. Although 1964 didn't have official proof sets from the Philadelphia Mint, a few proof-like strikes have been found, possibly from early die strikes or test runs. These coins have extra sharp details and mirrored surfaces. Collectors go wild for these rare examples. The $72,000 penny. Now let's talk about the showstopper, the 1964 Lincoln cent that sold for $72,000. This wasn't just any coin. It was graded MS-67 plus red by PCGS, one of the finest known examples in existence, featuring perfect surfaces, blazing red color, and no marks or wear at all. When this coin hit the auction block, collectors went into a bidding war, and it finally sold for an unbelievable $72,000. Why? Because it was the best of the best, in a sea of billions. And when something is that rare, the price skyrockets. How to check your 1964 penny? Think you might have a rare 1964 penny? Here's what to do. Look at the color. If it's bright red and shiny, that's a good sign. Check the mint mark. D is for Denver. No mint mark is Philly. Inspect for errors. Use a magnifier and check the lettering, date, and edges. Weigh it. It should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, it might be on the wrong metal. Get it graded. If you think it's in great condition, consider sending it to PCGS or NGC. Remember, even a 1-cent coin could be a hidden treasure if it's rare enough. Closing. Call to action. So the next time you come across an old 1964 penny, don't just toss it in your change jar. Take a second look, because one sold for $72,000 and yours might be next. Top 9. What if the penny sitting in your drawer is actually worth $58,000? You heard that right. One 1999 Lincoln penny shocked collectors when it sold at auction for a jaw-dropping price, and today, we're going to tell you exactly why. Welcome back to Coin Video, where we turn pocket change into treasure hunts. If you're a coin lover, collector, or just curious about what your money might really be worth, you're in the right place. Let's dig into the 1999 1-cent penny and uncover the secrets behind its hidden value. Coin overview, design and background. The 1999 Lincoln penny may seem ordinary at first glance. It features the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor D. Brenner, and has been in circulation since 1909. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which was used from 1959 all the way through 2008. In 1999, over 13 billion pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a small d under the year. So what makes 1 out of 13 billion worth tens of thousands? Let's break it down. Why some 1999 pennies are valuable. 1. Mint errors. The biggest reason a 1999 penny can skyrocket in value is because of rare mint errors. One of the most well-known from this year is the wide AM reverse variety. Normally, the letters A and M in America are very close together on regular 1999 pennies. But in the wide AM variety, they are clearly spaced apart. This was a design meant only for proof coins, but somehow a few were struck for circulation. This mistake makes the 1999 wide AM penny very rare and extremely valuable. Other rare errors include double die obverse, doubling on the date or lettering, off-center strikes, clip planchets, or even being struck on the wrong metal blank. Like a dime planchet, collectors are always hunting for these. 2. High-grade condition. Condition matters a lot. If you have a 1999 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition, with original red color, no scratches, and a crisp stripe, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coins graded MS67 or higher, especially with a rare variety, are in high demand. Professional grading by PCGS or NGC can make a huge difference in the price. The $58,000 penny. Now for the highlight, the 1999 penny that sold for $58,000. This wasn't just any Lincoln cent. It was a 1999 wide AM variety, graded MS66, read by PCGS, one of only a few known in such pristine condition, and it sold at heritage auctions for an incredible $58,000. That's right, a coin most people would overlook, turned out to be one of the most sought-after modern rarities. How to check your 1999 penny? Here's how you can check if your 1999 penny is special. Flip it over and look at the word America. If the A and M in America are spaced apart, you might have the wide AM. Use a magnifier to check for doubling or other errors. Keep an eye out for off-center strikes or odd shapes. Make sure your coin has its original red luster. The shinier and cleaner, the better. And if you think you have something rare, get it graded by PCGS or NGC. Even a tiny detail can turn your penny into a fortune. Closing. Call to action. So before you toss your spare change in a jar, take a second look. Because one 1999 Lincoln penny sold for $58,000, and yours might be next. Thanks for watching Coin Video, where we uncover the secret world of rare coins and hidden value. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new coin discovery, and drop a comment below. Do you have a 1999 penny? Maybe a wide AM. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your magnifiers handy, and remember, even a 1-cent coin could be worth $58,000. Let me know if you'd like a visual breakdown version for this video or one for a different year. Top 10. Could a 1995 penny be worth a mind-blowing $66,000? You might think a 1995 Lincoln cent is just an ordinary coin, but there's one rare version of this penny that fetched an incredible price at auction. Welcome back to Coin Video, the place where rare coins become unbelievable treasures. Today, we're uncovering the hidden value of the 1995 Lincoln penny and diving into what makes this 1-cent coin so valuable. Stick around to find out why one sold for a staggering $66,000. Coin overview, design and background. The 1995 Lincoln penny looks pretty standard at first glance. It features Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, designed by Victor D. Brenner in 1909. And on the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, used on pennies from 1959 through 2008. In 1995, over 8 billion pennies were minted across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. No mint mark means it's from Philadelphia. The mint mark means it's from Denver. But while most of these coins are only worth a penny, there's a rare version that is worth so much more. What's the secret? Why some 1995 pennies are valuable? 1. The 1995 Double Die Obverse, DDO. The most famous 1995 penny that's worth big money is the 1995 Double Die Obverse, DDO, penny. The double die obverse means that the date and inscription, Liberty, or In God We Trust, are doubled, a result of a mistake during the minting process. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin misalign, causing parts of the design to appear twice. The doubling is visible with the naked eye, especially around the date. These doubled die pennies are highly collectible and worth much more than a regular 1995 penny. Point 2. High-grade condition, MS67 or higher. Just like with other rare coins, the condition matters. A 1995 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition with sharp details and vibrant red color is extremely rare and highly valuable. Penny collectors go crazy for coins graded MS67 or higher. If your 1995 penny is pristine with zero wear or discoloration, you might be sitting on a goldmine. Point 3. Other minting errors. Aside from the DDO, the 1995 penny can also have off-center strikes, clip planchets struck on wrong metal, e.g., a nickel or dime blank. If you spot any unusual feature or defect, your coin might be worth much more than face value. The $66,000 penny. Now, here's the big reveal. 1995 Double Die Obverse penny, graded MS67, read by PCGS, sold at auction for an astonishing $66,000. Why so much? The coin had perfect red color and no visible wear. It was a high-grade specimen. It was one of the finest examples of a 1995 DDO, and only a handful exist in such pristine condition. When this coin hit the auction block, collectors eagerly competed for it, and the final price was a jaw-dropping $66,000. How to check your 1995 penny? So, how can you tell if your 1995 penny might be worth big money? Here's what to do. 1. Look for the double die. Check the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust for any doubling. The most common area to look for doubling is around the date, the 1995. If the numbers look slightly doubled, you've got a DDO. 2. Examine the condition. Is your penny bright red with no signs of wear or discoloration? If it looks uncirculated, it could be worth much more than a regular coin. 3. Check for other mint errors. Use a magnifying glass to look for errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or clipped edges. 4. Get it graded. If you find something that seems rare, send it in for grading with PCGS or NGC to confirm its value. Even a small detail could make all the difference in determining if your coin is worth thousands. Closing, call to action. So next time you come across a 1995 penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to inspect it. Who knows? You could be holding a double die obverse worth $66,000. Thanks for watching Coin Video. If you enjoyed learning about the rarest 1995 pennies, hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to stay up to date on the world of rare coins. And if you found a 1995 penny with an interesting feature, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. Until next time, remember, even a penny can be worth $66,000. Let me know if you'd like a different version or any adjustments. Top 11. The 1964 USA 1-cent penny. You might think a penny from 1964 is just another old coin, but believe it or not, this particular penny could be worth an incredible amount of money, up to $82,000. Stick with us as we explore why this penny has such a high value, what makes it rare, and how to identify it in your collection. The basics of the 1964 1-cent penny. Before diving into the specifics of its value, let's start with some basic history. The 1964 1-cent penny is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. The coin was designed by the artist Victor David Brenner, and its design has remained largely unchanged for over a century, aside from some minor modifications over the years. The penny, as you probably know, is composed primarily of copper, though by 1982, it was changed to a primarily zinc-based composition. In 1964, it was still a copper coin, and millions were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion pennies that year, so most 1964 pennies you find in circulation today aren't particularly rare. But some of these pennies, particularly those with certain errors, are extremely valuable. So, how can a penny worth just 1 cent be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Let's take a closer look why some 1964 pennies are worth more than others. While the 1964 penny was minted in massive quantities, the key to its high value lies in specific errors that occurred during the minting process. These errors are what make some 1964 pennies stand out to collectors and investors. One such error is the well-known double die variety, which is where the coin's design is struck more than once, causing some of the details to appear doubled or blurry. The most famous of these errors is the 1964 double die obverse, where the doubling is visible on the obverse side of the penny, specifically on the word Liberty and the date 1964. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this error so valuable? The answer is simple: rarity. Minting errors like this are rare by nature, and even though there are many 1964 pennies, only a handful of them have the double die error. Even fewer are in good condition, which makes them even more valuable. When collectors or investors are looking for coins, they seek out these rarities, and that's where the significant value comes in. The double die error explained. So, what exactly is a double die error? In the case of the 1964 penny, the error happened during the minting process when the die that was used to strike the coin made contact with the metal planchet, the blank coin, more than once. This led to a noticeable doubling of the design. For the 1964 penny, the double die error typically appears on the obverse side, where the word Liberty and the date 1964 appear doubled or offset. The doubled letters are visible to the naked eye, especially on the L in Liberty and the 9 in the year. To the untrained eye, a regular 1964 penny may seem identical to the double die version, but a keen observer will notice the subtle differences in the design. When viewed under magnification, the doubling is much more apparent, revealing a distinct shadow effect in the areas where the design has been struck twice. These double die pennies are much rarer than most other coins, and because of their scarcity, collectors are willing to pay a premium to add them to their collections. How to identify a 1964 double die penny? If you're hoping to find a 1964 double die penny in your collection or spare change, there are a few steps you can take to identify one. First, it's important to inspect the coin closely under magnification. A good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe will allow you to see the details more clearly. Start by looking at the word Liberty and the date 1964. Check carefully for any signs of doubling. This could appear as a shadow or a second outline of the letter or number. The most noticeable doubling usually happens on the top or bottom of the letters, but it can also appear on the sides, depending on the severity of the error. Keep in mind that not all doubling errors are created equal. The more pronounced and noticeable the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Additionally, check the overall condition of the coin. The better the condition, the higher the value. A coin with minimal wear, sharp details, and a good strike will be worth more than one that's heavily worn or damaged. If you find a 1964 penny with significant doubling and it's in great condition, you could be holding onto a valuable piece of numismatic history, the $82,000 penny. Now, let's talk about the big number, the $82,000. Why is a 1964 penny worth so much? The simple answer is supply and demand. While most 1964 pennies are common and worth only a cent, those with the double die error are extremely rare. Due to this rarity, the demand for these coins is high among collectors and investors. As the years go by and these pennies become harder to find, the price only increases. In fact, some 1964 double die pennies have been sold for as much as $82,000. That's right, a penny worth 1 cent could fetch $82,000 at auction, depending on its condition, rarity, and the level of doubling. The highest known sale of a 1964 double die penny took place at a major auction, and it blew away expectations, setting a new benchmark for these rare coins. The price tag reflects the rarity of the error, as well as the growing interest in rare coins among collectors. What else affects the value of a 1964 penny? While the double die error is the primary reason for the high value of some 1964 pennies, other factors can also play a role in determining the price. The condition of the coin is a major factor. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, with higher grades indicating better condition. A 1964 penny with a sharp, clean strike, no visible damage, and minimal wear could be worth significantly more than one that's scratched, worn, or tarnished. Additionally, the rarity of the specific error plays a huge role in determining the value. There are other types of errors that can make a penny more valuable, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or the presence of a mint mark that wasn't intended. The more unique and rare the error, the higher the potential price. Where to sell or buy a 1964 penny? If you've come across a 1964 penny that you believe might be a double die error, you might be wondering where to sell or purchase such a coin. There are many reputable coin dealers and auction houses that specialize in rare coins. You can also check online marketplaces like eBay or join online coin communities to find buyers or sellers. However, be cautious when buying or selling valuable coins. Always make sure that you're working with a trusted dealer and get your coin professionally authenticated if you're unsure about its value. Authentication can help protect you from fraud and ensure that you're getting the best possible price. Conclusion: the 1964 USA 1-cent penny is a coin that many people overlook, but for those in the know, it can be worth a small fortune. Whether it's a double die error or another rare minting mistake, the value of this penny can reach incredible heights, with some examples fetching up to $82,000. So, the next time you're flipping through your pocket change or browsing your collection, take a closer look at those 1964 pennies. You might just find one that's worth a lot more than you think. Top 12. In today's video, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies in US coin history, the 1972 USA 1-cent penny. While the 1972 penny might seem like a common coin, it's actually much rarer than you might think. Some special versions of this coin are worth a small fortune. Stick with us as we uncover the incredible story behind the 1972 penny and why it's worth up to $72,000. The basics. The 1972 1-cent penny. The 1972 penny, like all Lincoln cents, features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This coin was minted during a period of high circulation, and it may seem like a typical penny from the 1970s. However, not all 1972 pennies are created equal, and some of them carry errors that can make them extremely valuable. In fact, while the US Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1972 pennies, only a select few were minted with certain errors that make them worth thousands, if not tens of thousands, of dollars. Today, we'll focus on the most important of these errors, the 1972 double die penny, and how you can identify it in your own collection or spare change. The 1972 double die penny. So, what makes the 1972 penny so special? The key lies in an error known as the double die. A double die occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the same die, causing the design to appear doubled or blurry. In the case of the 1972 penny, this doubling is most noticeable on the obverse side of the coin, the side that features Lincoln's portrait and the word Liberty. The doubling error on the 1972 penny is particularly striking because it's easy to see with the naked eye. The doubling appears on several elements of the design, including the word Liberty, the date 1972, and even parts of Lincoln's portrait. The doubling is visible as a secondary shadow or outline of the letters and numbers. In some cases, the doubling is so pronounced that it looks like the coin has been struck twice. Why the 1972 doubled die penny is so valuable? So, why are these doubled die pennies worth so much? Well, rarity is the main factor. While millions of 1972 pennies were minted, only a small number of them have this doubled die error. As time goes on, these coins become harder to find, making them more desirable to collectors. And because the doubling is so visible, it's easy for collectors to spot these valuable coins. The 1972 doubled die penny has become one of the most sought-after coins in the world of numismatics. It's particularly popular among collectors of Lincoln cents, and demand has driven the price up significantly. What's more, as fewer of these coins survive in good condition, their value continues to rise. A 1972 doubled die penny in excellent condition can easily fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. How to identify a 1972 doubled die penny? Now that you know what makes the 1972 penny so special, let's talk about how you can identify one of these rare coins in your own collection. First, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, as the doubling might be subtle but is visible under magnification. Start by looking at the word Liberty on the obverse side of the coin. The doubling will appear as a shadow or a second outline of the letters. Pay close attention to the top and bottom of the L, I, B, and R in Liberty. You should also check the date, 1972, as the doubling is often visible on the numbers as well. The doubling can also affect Lincoln's portrait, especially in the areas around his neck and collar. The key to identifying a 1972 doubled die penny is looking for that doubled effect. The doubling on this coin is usually very noticeable, but be sure to examine the coin carefully to ensure it's not just wear and tear on a regular penny. Condition matters. The value of a high-grade coin, while the 1972 doubled die penny is rare, the value of any given coin also depends on its condition. Coins are graded based on their level of wear and how clearly the design is preserved. A coin that has been well preserved, with minimal wear, sharp details, and a clear stripe, will be worth more than one that is heavily worn or damaged. A 1972 doubled die penny in mint condition, or with very little wear, can fetch a higher price. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A high-grade example of a 1972 doubled die penny could command a significant premium over a lower-grade coin, even if both have the doubled die error. What you could get for a 1972 doubled die penny. Now, let's talk about the potential price of a 1972 doubled die penny. As we've mentioned, the value of these coins can range widely depending on factors like condition and the severity of the error. But for a coin in excellent condition, it's not uncommon for it to sell for $10,000 to $15,000 or even more. In some cases, a particularly well-preserved 1972 doubled die penny could fetch up to $72,000. That's right, $72,000 for a penny. The highest recorded sale of a 1972 doubled die penny was at a major coin auction, where a coin in excellent condition sold for this jaw-dropping amount. As the supply of these coins continues to dwindle, their value is expected to increase even further. Other variations and errors to look for. While the 1972 doubled die penny is the most famous and valuable error in the series, there are other variations and errors that can increase the value of a coin. For example, some 1972 pennies were struck off-center, creating a unique look that appeals to collectors. Others may have die cracks or other minting errors that make them more interesting to collectors. If you're interested in coin collecting, it's important to familiarize yourself with the different types of errors that can occur during minting. Sometimes, what seems like an ordinary penny could be a rare and valuable treasure. Where to buy and sell 1972 doubled die pennies? If you think you've found a 1972 doubled die penny in your collection or while searching through your spare change, you might be wondering where you can sell it. There are many reputable coin dealers and auction houses that specialize in rare coins. You can also find buyers on online marketplaces like eBay, but be sure to have your coin professionally authenticated to avoid potential scams. If you're looking to buy a 1972 doubled die penny, there are also many places to find them. Coin dealers, online auctions, and coin shows are great places to start your search. Just remember, when buying or selling a valuable coin, always work with trusted professionals to ensure you're getting a fair deal. Conclusion: the 1972 USA 1-cent penny may seem like just another penny, but for collectors, it's one of the most valuable coins out there. The 1972 double-die penny, with its striking error, is highly sought after by numismatists and can be worth up to $72,000. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, it's worth keeping an eye out for these rare and valuable coins. Top 13. Have you ever looked at a regular penny and wondered if it could be worth a small fortune? Well, today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins from modern US history, the 1977 Lincoln cent, also known as the 1977 1-cent penny. It may look like just another common coin from your pocket change, but believe it or not, some versions of this penny have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Let's explore why. The 1977 penny features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It's made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, like most pennies minted before 1982. In total, more than 4.4 billion of these coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, along with over 850 million from the Denver Mint, and over 2 million proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. So, with so many out there, what could possibly make one of these pennies so special? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and minting errors. Let's start with errors. Some 1977 pennies were struck with mistakes that occurred during the minting process. One of the most desirable types of error is a double die, where parts of the coin design, like the date or the word "Liberty," appear slightly doubled. These are highly collectible and can dramatically increase a coin's value. Then there's the possibility of off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned in the press, or broad strikes, where the coin is missing its normal rim due to a malfunction during minting. These errors make each affected penny unique, and that uniqueness is what collectors are willing to pay a premium for. But it's not just errors that bring in the big bucks. The second major factor is condition. Most coins from 1977 that were used in everyday circulation have scratches, discoloration, and wear. But if you somehow come across a 1977 penny in mint state, especially one graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, you could be looking at a very valuable coin. Only a tiny fraction of these pennies have survived in such perfect condition. And collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade examples to add to their collections. In fact, one such 1977 Lincoln cent, graded in exceptional mint state condition, was sold at auction for an incredible price of $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $55,000 for a single 1-cent coin. So next time you're going through your loose change, take a closer look. Flip those pennies over. Check the date. Inspect them under a magnifying glass. You never know, you might just discover a hidden treasure sitting in your coin jar, your drawer, or even under your couch cushions. Top 14. Have you ever taken a close look at the pennies in your pocket? Today, we're diving into a coin that millions of people see every day and don't think twice about, the 1981 USA 1-cent penny. It's small, it's copper-colored, and it's easy to overlook. But what if I told you that some of these pennies, yes, the 1981 Lincoln cents, have sold for thousands of dollars? Let's take a closer look at what makes the 1981 penny so interesting, and how one rare version of it brought in a jaw-dropping $49,000 at auction. First, a little background. The 1981 Lincoln cent features the classic design we all know, President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. These were the last full year of pennies made with the 95% copper and 5% zinc composition before the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc in mid-1982 to cut costs. So in a way, 1981 represents the end of an era, the final chapter in over 2 decades of solid copper pennies. Over 7.5 billion of these were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, more than 5.4 billion at the Denver Mint, and about 4.9 million proof coins were made at the San Francisco Mint. That's a lot of pennies. So how can one be worth more than a new car? The answer comes down to 3 important factors: condition, rarity, and errors. Let's start with condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale. Most 1981 pennies you'll find in circulation are scratched, worn, or faded. But a coin graded MS67 or higher, which means it's in mint state and nearly flawless, is incredibly rare, especially for a coin that was never meant to be special. Next, there's rarity, particularly in proof coins and high-grade examples. The 1981 S-proof penny, for example, exists in two different types, Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 2 has a clearer, more defined mint mark and is much rarer. Collectors often pay a premium for this tiny difference. Finally, we have errors. These are coins that were struck with mistakes at the mint, like double die errors, off-center strikes, die breaks, or broad strikes. Error coins are like the wild cards of the collecting world. Each one is unique, and some fetch astonishing prices. So, how much can one of these 1981 pennies be worth? Well, one 1981 Lincoln cent in nearly perfect mint state condition, free of wear, sharply struck, and graded by a top-tier grading service, recently sold for an unbelievable $49,000. Yes, you heard that right. $49,000 for a single penny, and this isn't just a rumor, it's a real auction sale that proves how valuable even the most ordinary-looking coin can be when rarity and condition come together. So the next time you're sorting through change, take a moment to look closely. Check the date. Look at the mint mark. Examine the coin under a light. What might seem like a simple penny could actually be a rare collectible worth thousands of dollars. Top 15. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, it's just 1 cent, right? Well, what if I told you that a penny from 1991, yes, just a regular-looking 1991 USA 1-cent penny, could actually be worth thousands of dollars today? Welcome back to Coin Video, the place where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary stories. And today, we're diving into a small copper coin with a big secret, the 1991 Lincoln cent. Let's break it down. At first glance, the 1991 penny doesn't look like anything special. It features the classic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was struck in huge quantities, over 5 billion coins from the Philadelphia Mint, about 4.2 billion from the Denver Mint, and around 2.8 million proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Like most modern pennies, the 1991 cent is made of copper-plated zinc, a change the US Mint made in 1982 to save money. These coins weigh just 2.5 grams, and most people think they're only worth face value, but that's where the story gets interesting, because a select few 1991 pennies have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and it all comes down to errors, rarity, and exceptional condition. Let's start with errors. Some 1991 pennies were struck with major mistakes, like off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or even double die obverse, where the lettering or Lincoln's profile looks doubled. These minting errors are not just cool to look at, they can also make the coin incredibly valuable. Then there's condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Most pennies from 1991 are found with scratches, nicks, or signs of wear. But if you happen to have a 1991 penny in nearly perfect mint state, especially one graded MS68 or higher, you might be holding onto a serious collector's item. Only a handful of 1991 pennies have survived in that pristine condition, and when rarity meets perfection, the value skyrockets. And now, the big number. A 1991 Lincoln cent, in superb uncirculated condition and graded by a professional grading service, recently sold for an incredible $54,000 at auction. Yes, you heard it right, $54,000 for a 1-cent coin. Imagine that. A penny that could easily be overlooked or dropped on the sidewalk turned out to be worth more than a luxury car. So, before you spend that 1991 penny or toss it into a jar, take a moment to inspect it. Check for sharp details, strong luster, and any unusual features. You might just discover a coin that could change your life. Thanks for watching Coin Video, where small coins have big stories. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a rare coin that could be hiding in plain sight, because one day, you might be holding the next $54,000 penny in your own hand. Want me to help you script an intro or outro for your channel, or turn this into a video storyboard with visuals?